Kia ora all. I'm coming to you today from a place called Cherry Farm Psychiatric Hospital that used to be here. Last year I went to the North Island to live in, and I did some videos on Hokio Beach Boys Home, Koheteri Boys Institution, Kimberley Hospital, and Aotea Street Family Home that I was in. Well, I'm here at a place called Cherry Farm today. Now, I turned 59 recently, and it's 50 years ago that the state put me in this place. The head doctor at the time was a man called Dr. Franklin, and in my state ward file, which I read the excerpt this morning, he states to the Department of Social Welfare, please don't send me this 9-year-old boy. I don't have the facilities for a 9-year-old. If you send this boy to me, I'll have no choice but to lock him up with the adults who I fear will be detrimental to his well-being, corrupt this boy. But the social welfare threw that all out the window and sent a little 9-year-old boy to this place. And I'm back here 50 years later, standing inside a dilapidated old unit. Everything's starting to come back. Memories of that little boy running around amongst the adults, trying to defend myself, But look, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the inside of this unit that I've managed to get in. So here we go. I'm just walking around. This is the inside what was typically a unit here at Cherry Farm. Just walk down here. When I was brought down here from reception by the male nurse, I was stripped naked. I'll see if the doors are locked. No, it's locked. I was stripped naked through a room like this. And what I distinctly remember about it was the pajamas they gave me to put on. I had to fold them up because they were adult pajamas because they didn't have children. This was not designed for children. Anyway, the male nurse unlocked the door like that, pushed me through it, shut the door behind me and locked it. And this is my view standing once he did this. And in a similar, unit to this, I'm standing here at 9 years old. I was told I was coming to a place called Cherry Farm, and at 9 I thought I was going to a farm with cherries on it. They took me from a placement farm with cows and sheep, and I thought I was coming to a farm with cherries. And when they brought me here and they shoved me through that door, I'm looking, thinking, where the hell are the cherries? Where's the farm? What the hell is this place? And all around this room and coming through a doorway like that one over there, there were very, very disturbed adult psychiatric patients. Now they put me through that fucking door, they locked it behind me, and they left a 9-year-old boy standing there looking around at very disturbed adult mental patients, wondering what the fucking hell is this place? Where's the cherries? Where's the farm? What the fuck is this? And what am I doing here? And you know what I did? I walked along a wall like this, and I walked into a fucking corner right like you can see right there. And I huddled up in that corner like that with my knees pulled up to my chin, staring out over the top of them at all these psychiatric adults looking at me, and they all, as soon as I got in here, they came like flies to fucking rotten meat. And I'm sitting in a corner like this. And before I know it, this doorway like this opens up and a man comes through it. And I look over and he was an older Māori man. And my initial impression was, it's Granddad. My granddad's here. What are you doing here, Granddad? And this man came through the door. He looked towards me in the corner, and the smile came on his face, and I realised it wasn't my granddad. But at the same time, I noticed that this old man was shuffling his feet because he had these pyjamas around his ankles, and he'd shit his pyjamas. And he was doing a funny thing with his mouth. And I looked closer, and what he was doing, he had a handful of his own shit out of his pyjamas in his hand. He was eating it. He spied me in the corner of this room. He shuffled over. I had nowhere to fucking go. And he wiped that fucking shit all over me in that corner. Within another minute, a psychiatric patient, well, they were all looking at me, came over here, and I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but he was actually masturbating. And he masturbated and came all over me, sitting in the corner. This is my fucking welcome as a 9-year-old, where I should never have gone. And you got to understand, what the fuck is this place? I was going to a farm called Cherry Farm. I was 9 years old. And then I get into a place like this, get stripped naked, get these jammers put on me and thrown in amongst fucking psychiatric fucking adult patients. Excuse my language, but that's exactly what it was. Now what the fuck were the state thinking or even doing, putting kids in places like this? Particularly when the head doctor says, don't send them to me, I don't have the facilities for a boy. Is that what you call care of children? Against advice of the head doctor, knowing they don't have facilities to care for a child, but they send you here anyway and leave you at the mercy. That was my life. 9 years old, 50 years ago this year, when I came here. Now, I'll just have a wee look around and, look, these are the old toilets, dilapidated toilets, I used to freak out going to the toilet because this was a favourite place that the mental people or the psychiatric patients would follow me in there, touch me, trying to get off the toilet with my pants down, trying to pull my pants up, and they're trying to pull it down and stick fingers up in the butt and all sorts of shit, I don't know if I can get through here. No, I can't get through this. I don't know. Look at it. It's pretty run down, dilapidated. This is all privately owned apparently now, and I've actually got in through a broken window to do this video. But, this is my life, and part of my memories has been in here. Fucking 9 years old. Shoved in a psychiatric institution with adults, the head doctor saying don't send him here. Come on, state. Why? Why did this happen to people like me, children like me? I was here in 1970, and it was 2 years later that they established the Child and Adolescent Unit at Lake Alice Psychiatric Hospital up in the North Island. Now, the reason I've come here today to do this video is that all these old institutions have been pulled down. They're building over them. And I think the state seem to think that, with time, we pull them all down. People forget what happened here and what used to be here. So that's why I've come here, to do a wee video, because, these are the fucking places they stuck us in. Now, look at the state of these places. These were adult psychiatric hospitals. There was no child adolescent unit here at Cherry Farm. It was an adult psychiatric institution. So I was stuck in here all on my own. No other kids in here in this institution. There'd been none of it before me, and I'm not sure about after me, but it was 2 years after I was in this place that they established the Child and Adolescent Unit at Lake Alice. And of course, the truth's coming out about Lake Alice. A lot of men that I was in care with, they took them to Lake Alice and they fucking tortured kids, They got electrodes and they stuck them on kids' genitals and private parts, and they fucking treated them. It wasn't therapy, it wasn't medical, it was fucking torture of kids. While I was in here, they medicated me with a drug called Malarol. They stupefied me. And the reason they did that was I tried defending myself against these adult patients from touching me. I have a file from this place that I got through the health ministry. And it states in there that I was throwing billiard balls at the patients. And as a result, they took me into a cell. They put a padded bloody jacket on me. And they medicated me down until I calmed down. And of course, when they give you sedative and antipsychotic drugs, I was stupefied. And then once I calmed down because of the drugs, they threw me back out in this unit. The only reason I was throwing things at these patients because they kept touching me, pulling my pants down, molesting me, trying to rape me. I was fucking 9 years old. Wasn't even fucking meant to be here, And then as a result of trying to defend myself as a 9-year-old boy, they fucking drugged and sedated me and then threw me out here amongst them again. And the sad thing was I hadn't even been assessed with a diagnosis of a mental illness. In fact, the record states after I left here, I had no impairment, I had no mental illness, that my problems stemmed back within my family, directly back to my father. But yet, without even that diagnosis done, they'd already medicated and drugged me without a diagnosis. So basically, I was a fucking guinea pig as a 9-year-old boy. And this fucking institution for drugs that they wanted to test on little boys, children, to see what they would do to me probably, how they'd work on my metabolism. So I was just a fucking guinea pig in this place, you know. And you know what? I'm very fortunate that 50 years later I'm able to come back here. And you know, although it's a wee bit upsetting, distressing, I've still got my fucking mind together, you know. Still got some abilities. But it's probably more than I can say for a lot of my brothers and sisters went through Lake Ellis. They got tortured with electric shock treatment. You know, a lot of their lives turned out a lot worse off than probably I did. So in a way, I feel fortunate, but in a way, I feel unfortunate that I was stuck in here on my own. I had no other children. There was no unit here where I could go and get support from other kids my age or know that I'm not alone. So I was a 9-year-old boy thinking I was going to a farm called Cherry Farm with cherries on it. And I was alone in a psychiatric hospital called Cherry Farm here. But, you know, the sights and things, the sounds, the moans of the patients, the male nurses used to beat the patients up. And the sick lookers on some of these male nurses as they were beating the patients was like they fucking enjoyed it. Now, I'm sorry, excuse my language, but, I'm not going to pretty this up anymore for anything. This is the reality and the consequences, you know. You know, what I just can't fathom the state's care of children, particularly when you read documents saying, we don't have the facilities, don't send them here. And they do it anyway, knowing you're going to be locked up with adults and knowing you're going to be put at risk. This is our state care, or it's care of me, but I'm just one of thousands and thousands of kids taken by our state and put in fucked up places like this. Tortured, abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, you know, and other kids with electric shock treatment, you know. This is why I fought for 40 fucking plus years to get this to come out in the truth, and others did too, not just me. There's many others like me that fought for this, because we carry the fucking memories of these places in our minds. They live with us. From time to time, you know, you get flashbacks of fucking places like that. You've got no control over it. You can be driving down the road and just see something and bang, it pops into your head. You know, and I've come down here to do this, to tell a story, because I want this country to know. And I don't know whether the Royal Commission Inquiry is going to pull out the full extent and truth of what happened in care. So I was compelled to come down here and do this video 50 years after I was here. 50 years ago, I was a little boy in this place, to try and get some sort of closure, but also to highlight what the state did in caring for children. It was barbaric, it was inhuman, it was fucking torture. You know, what they cared for us, they destroyed us. They destroyed little children and turned us into struggling young people, into struggling adults. And I thank God that I've still got my mind about me, my wits, and I'm able to function, because so many are struggling today to come to terms with places like this and are unable to function properly, unable to speak and tell the truth about what happened to places like this. They tortured kids. They used drugs against us to sedate us. We were guinea pigs for experiments. Now, right at the moment, there's an investigation going into a Dr. Selwyn Leeks, and he was the doctor in charge of the adolescent unit at Lake Ellis Psychiatric Institution, which is gone in the North Island. The man responsible for torturing thousands of my brothers and sisters using electricity. Now, with a bit of study, I found out that Dr. Selwyn Leeks actually did a lot of his study and learning at the Otago University here. And I believe in myself that he was involved with Cherry Farm before becoming the head of the adolescent unit at Lake Ellis. But, you know, I remember escaping out of a unit like this, and what I did was I was being chased around by the patients, and, you know, you see the floors, the wooden floors, they were shiny and polished. They were smooth as. And one bit of fun I used to try and get out of it, when it would run and slide on my pyjamas along the floors. It was that smooth. Well, being chased around in the unit by some patients, and a male nurse comes through a door like that in the corner there and unlocks it. And he, as he locked it, he turned his back to lock it. I come flying through his legs and out the door, and I took off. And I run down, and I went down a corridor, and I run into this room. And I stopped. And either side of me, there was, excuse me, I'm trying to get the light reflecting. Either side of me were partitions with like wooden slats partitioned off. And then there were single beds, and probably about maybe 8 either side of me. And you walk down the middle. On those beds, I seen patients, and they had their tongues like that, and they had something in their mouth. Now I realise it was to stop them swallowing their tongue. Now, when I described it to some people that I know have been in care and had electric convulsive therapy or electric shock treatment, they described what I've seen as deep sleep electric convulsive therapy. Now, I'm a bit confused because I was looking, and the system seems to point out that that didn't start until a few years down the track, like 72, but yet it was happening here. I seen it with my own eyes. You know, I guess one thing fortunate, Dr. Selwyn Leeks wasn't here at the time. 2 years before he did what he did to those children, I could say this. And I could put my hand on my heart and speak this. He would have done this to me if he was here and a doctor involved. I would have been one of the first child to be subjected to that 2 years before children at Lake Alice. But in no way am I undermining my brothers and sisters at Lake Alice and what they went through and the memories and the trauma they carry because of it. Just pointing out that, you know, I was here 2 years before that unit was set up. Selwyn Leeks was attached to this place, and I'm so fortunate and thankful to God that he never got to me here before he got to my brothers and sisters at Lake Alice. But yeah, this is the inside. It's pretty dilapidated now and old and falling down, and this is just one unit of many, many. I'm going to climb back out this window and have a wee look around and just show you some of the other outside of the place. It's all coming out, and here we go. See, look. Now you can see that carriageway. That's what I'm talking about between the buildings. I run down there and run into a room off it, and that's where I seen their patients with electric convulsive therapy. But this here is the outside of just one unit here at Cherry Farm, and it's a massive complex here. Cherry Farm is north of Dunedin, about 40 kilometres, and probably about 10k south of a little town called Wakawaiti. And look, we'll come around here. There's some older other parts of the institution over there. And, you know, over here, still parts of it left. Now, this is all being sold privately, and people are building homes in here. And, you know, so this is the outside of the unit I've just taken in. I'm going to walk down here a wee bit further and just have a wee look around here. But this was absolutely a huge complex. You can see the trees way over in the background. Well, that's the main road, and it started from way over there all the way down behind us here, down here. Oh my gosh, look at this. And over here there's another part of it. It was huge. It was absolutely huge. And as you can see, there's some houses have been built in here. Now what used to be over here was other units like this. We're all over here, and as you can see, these are new houses have been built. They've pulled them down, and these are new houses being built in here. And this is what they've done with a lot of the old things, institutions from the state, where they did this shit to people. They've knocked them down, or they've sold them off privately, and people are building in here. And there will come a time where this unit will no longer be here, when you'll come in here maybe 10, 20 years time, and this will just look like a wee village that's in here. And the people of the time will never know what used to be here, let alone people from the past. And what they did in here. It's almost like, you know, it'll be all forgotten and never spoken about, never remembered. But like I said, I'll never forget this place to my last breath. How could I? I was 9 fucking years old, getting tortured and, not tortured, abused by psychiatric patients. And so that's just looking through the window. Yeah, this was a massive complex. No, and I'll tell you one thing that sticks with me today is the sounds that were coming out of this place, the sounds that the psychiatrically disturbed people made. You know, the screams, the wails. You know, you never forget these things, the sounds. You never ever. You know. I'm just going to walk down here a wee bit further. Yeah, but as you can see, this has all been pulled down. There's people building houses here now. It used to go all the way down here. And this is, as you can see, there's a new house over there, there's houses over there. And this is the end of that unit there. Oh my God, is this it? Let me see, I'm going to go and have a wee look in here. I really think, if I'm right, this could be what I was looking for. Oh my gosh. There it is. You can see through this window now. What I'm seeing is here, I told you about the rooms are separated, and I knew they had wooden, but they had plastic. These are where they had the shock treatment patients sitting in these things. You can see the partitioned off slots on both sides. I described. I didn't realise this was down there. And so I must have been on a unit, well, they're all pretty much the same, but you can see, and these little partition slots is where they put the patients when they're recovering from deep sleep electric convulsive therapy. Right in these are, and you know, this is just one unit of many. And like I said, I escaped through a door and I managed to run away and I got into here, and this is where the male nest caught up with me. And I do remember him saying something to me. He says, you look at that, because if you don't stop, if you keep misbehaving, that's what's going to happen to you. I remember that, but look, that's it there. That is where they put the patients to recover. Now let's look around the side of this building. Oh God, look. Oh my gosh, 50 years ago, it's 9 years old, stuck in here, and there's this psychiatric institution with adults, you know. There you go. Now, like I said, there's the end of the unit down there, and so of course they kept you down that end, apart from all the psychiatric patients that were, fried their brains with electricity. And see, that's a house that's been built in there, but this institution went right down to the end, right out to the road. It was a massive complex in its day. In fact, I would like to Google and see if I can get a picture of the old institution and put on there. But look, there you go. That's where the shock treatment patients were put in these cubicles, were separated by there and recovered. Oh yeah. I'm just trying to see if I can get a better shot in there of it. I'll come around here. Well, just see, I can't reach up that, try to get up there, but you can see those partitions down there. Let me see. Let's see if I can jump up. Yes, that's it. You can see what I was explaining coming down on either side. I thought there's about 8 beds, but I think there might be a wee bit more in there. Here we go, here's the door. This will be locked. But there you go, look. See? And see, you can see them. They had patients in the bloody things. Like I described to you, their tongues hanging out. They were put under the general anaesthetic to give this to. It was called deep sleep electric convulsive therapy. And there you go, that's just inside one room, and you can see, if you look, you can see the partitions going down there. So I run down a corridor between these buildings and into that room, and that's where the male nurse caught me. Oh, you know, 50 years ago. Oh, so this is Cherry Farm, psychiatric hospital. And a place of fucking horror, to be honest, excuse my language, people, but a place of horror. especially for me when I was 9 years old. I've been shoved there on my own and been exposed to what I was, been treated, abused the way I was, you know. But I've come down here and faced